One, two, three, four.
Okay, so another super rough intro, but that's all with a plan in place to relaunch the podcast for season 2 with all new music, and it just wasn't worth my time and going and searching out the old intro music, which was from the song Waiting on the World to Turn, an early version of that song, which Harrison and I worked on. It's a Harrison Foreman song from his 2016 album Dandelion, I believe, but we are re-recording it for our Bowers Foreman album, which will be called Southern Lane, and hopefully will drop sometime this year. Hey, speaking of this year, it's January the 1st, 2024. Happy New Year! Yo, Adrian, we made it! Another year. My senior poodle, Beauty, has made it to another year, so that's wonderful, and we have all made it to another year. And in this year, we know for sure we're going to be getting a new and hopefully much better administration in our country, and that's a good thing. And although we do have to go through a horrible election year, so that's not a great thing, never a great thing, always like the most divisive time to be living in America, but we'll get through it somehow, and hopefully a brighter, better day will be on the horizon next year, or after November the 25th, as it were. But yeah, I'm happy to still be breathing and taking in this wonderful life. And yeah, I tell you, it's been a little bit of a sketchy, bumpy ride in the post-COVID year here, but I think things are on the up and up. If at least I think like the public consciousness around COVID and the fear of COVID and the stoked fear and hysteria from the media and, making Trump out to be like some sort of Adolf Hitler and all this other ridiculousness. And of course the 52 genders and all these narrative plays made by I don't even want to call it the Democrats. I want to say the far left. The far left. It's a power play to keep people confused and, keep people's head on a swivel, head on a bobble swivel, and nobody trusting anyone. That's the great way to control the masses. And not to wax political here, but I mean, like, there's been a whole lot of that the last few years in America, and I think that we're at a point where, people on both sides have had enough, And so I think that sort of sets the stage for better days in the future and more unity, as ironic and iconic as it is, what the world needs now is love has always been the answer. Empathy and love and understanding, right? Hatred and animosity and just all this I don't even know the right word for it actually, but all this, angst and anger toward anyone who doesn't feel or, see things just the way we do, it's ludicrous. And history has shown that it never works out. So, anyway, wow, jolly, cheery, upbeat first podcast. Actually, technically, this is the last podcast of season 1. I'm still calling this episode 50 because I need my numbers to make sense. And also, I will say that Spreaker deleted one of my early podcasts because it had too much music in it. Apparently you're limited to how much music you can have in a single podcast because this is not intended to be like a music publishing platform. And I think I had shared a complete song from one of my, pre-release recordings or whatever for lack of content, and they had deleted that one. That one was not recoverable, unfortunately, because I had not backed it up. So that one was gone. And then one other episode that, when I was trying to figure out my relationship with Ansel Brown, who I've been working on his record for about 3 years. And, but also we're friends. I think it's safe to say we're friends now because he's got the young daughter and we got the granddaughter, and we get them together and we do, friend stuff now, which we didn't really then. But at that time, I was still exploring the possibility of doing some professional work with him and for him. And I was going through a time where I wasn't sure how that relationship was going to come down or whatnot, but he does a podcast. We decided to do a podcast, and we did that at his place, and it was horrible. I mean, I wouldn't say we don't have chemistry. I would say on a podcast with no plan, that wasn't a great idea. So we sat down and had this podcast, and we touched on the topic of race and, people playing the race card and then people not understanding race relations from, anybody's perspective but their own, white perspective. And I definitely didn't want to come off as, one of them anti-white podcasts there are so many of, and I didn't want to come off as one of those, insensitive me podcasts either, so it turned out to be a very, I just knew it would never play. It didn't come off well at all. So I thought, well, let's squash that because we don't want to be misconstrued or, made to be look like we're supporting a position we don't. So, that sort of thing. But we did that remote. And it's back when I was learning to use this remote Spreaker app anyway. I've come a long way since then. For example, at this moment in time, this doesn't sound bad. I'm in a good spot, but I'm actually recording with my iPhone 13 Pro, and I'm technically in the bathroom, so, in the actual bath itself. So live from the bath, as I like to say. But anyway, we're further along with our podcasting now. One of the things that I said that I really wanted to change about how I record these, starting in season 2, is I want to have segments and I want to have musical bumpers. So the making of the musical bumpers, obviously I got my own studio. That's very easy. So I just need to execute on that. And, instead of talking about how I'm going to work out and diet and all this like everybody else does today, I'm just going to talk for a moment about a format that I hope will work a little bit better for these. Now, I do like getting these podcast remote on some occasions because I plan to do more hiking and being out in not public, but like out in the wild, like at the state park and things like that. That is a lot more doable in milder weather, I will say that. But I do plan to put the feet on the hiking path a lot more this year than I did in the past. We did very little of that last year. And part of that comes down to the energy that Delilah brings with the whole thing. And she's in like 8 months, she'll be 5 years old. So just over at 4, like her intelligence really started blooming as far as being able to express herself. And then as she got into, pre-K full time, of course, like she's able to express ideas that I don't really know where they come from and stuff. And it's just sort of changed the dynamic just a little bit when it comes to a single person watching her and taking care of her and keeping her entertained. It's been pretty much a challenge, as I mentioned in my last podcast, this pre-New Year's week, but getting better all the time. And like I said, next year I sort of anticipate using the hiking to kind of just get her out and, grow her endurance. And right now when we go walking, she's like, I'm tired, carry me, after not even a mile. So, I want that to be where she can go out there and hit that 4-mile trail with me, and I never have to carry her because, man, I'm old, dude, 54. Geez, I don't want to be carrying like a 40-pound youngin'. And that's another thing. She's just now gotten to be 40 pounds. She was like 36 pounds forever, and now she started to grow a little bit. She's a little taller. It seems like she can't stay in shoes more than a month because she outgrows them, but this is one of the amazing things about having little kids, becoming bigger kids, and I love it. I'm here for it. I just want to be prepared. And, having come off of this little sickness that I got from one of my clients on, where I was really sick for Christmas Day. This is actually the first time that I've been sick on Christmas Day, and as long as I can remember. So that's awesome. I've been threading that needle and staying healthy, through the COVID thing. I never really got COVID from a client. But in this case, I guess just the situation was right. And I think she had just gotten infected with the cold. When she comes in, she's coughing and, oh no, we hauled some corn. It's not really cold. I'm not sick. And she was. And so that did get me. But, Anywho, I didn't get as sick as a lot of people have been this last week, so I'm thankful for that, and didn't have too much of a bronchitis reaction to it, just a little bit of fever for a couple of days, and just happened to be Christmas Day. So that sort of messed that up a little bit, but all is well. Now I'm feeling so much better. Really just ready to kind of get out of the house and get back to my working schedule and get back into that gym, get on that gym schedule. I've given myself this guarantee. If I can either use my treadmill or the treadmill at Planet Fitness, I've been a member of Planet Fitness since they opened, and intermittently when I'm serious about working out, I'll be a member also at Gold's Gym, which is a much nicer gym. Planet Fitness, their gear is too small. It's not made for big people like me. I can use the treadmill, I can use some of the free weights, and I can use the Smith machine. But as far as the leg extensions and all that stuff, it's cheap Chinese stuff made for smaller people, and I can't use it. So, but then again, I got the pre-opening price of $10 a month. So my gym fee is $120 a year. So I am literally never letting that go. For even if I only go just here and there, it's worth that to me to have it. And, they are located so close to our office building for whatever reason. If I ever need to pop over there to get a shower, it's literally like not even a mile from me. So that's why I keep paying that. But I do want to get back to goals because that's where I can get the real work done. And I've given myself the goal of if I can hit some sort of cardio every day, 5 days a week for 1 month, I will go back to goals. Because that tells me, I don't want to go back to goals just on the thought that I'm going to start working out again. It's got to be making it happen. And of course, I'm back to the no bread, no sugar diet. I'm already back to that. So I had a brief little 1 week thing where, I was sick and I was eating stuff that I wouldn't normally eat. And that has not helped, that's for sure. I actually think that made the cold last longer because sugar's got a way of putting a whammy on me, let me tell you. But I think that's probably what happened there. But I will say that that is behind me now. So yesterday we woke up at one of the Hiltons in Charlotte, the one that is over there kind of near University area. I forget the name of that one. But it's the one where they've had Mad Monster Party at a few times, and it has a little kind of tiny lake out front. And we went out and tried to enjoy the walking around it, but it was still pretty cold, probably 38 degrees. And we did go walk around it, but I didn't particularly enjoy it. And then we kind of came back to the room, and Delilah still wasn't quite acting like herself. So, and it was weird because we didn't have a king-size bed. We had 2 double beds. So we, of course, Delilah's sleeping on my side. And then eventually when I get up and go take a bath, she gets on Nancy's side. And it's just like a pillow fort. The whole place was like a pillow fort. But we did watch a little bit of stuff. Last night when we got back, we watched The Grinch, the cartoon Grinch, the most recent one, which I purchased on Vudu. We actually saw it on Prime prior to Christmas for free, and then I purchased it, and we watched it twice since then, all the way through. It's really cute, and it really captures her imagination. She really, really loves it. It's really a musical. That's sort of how I see it. But I do enjoy that one, and that was it was nice. And then last night, to give me a little bit of time to go work on some bookings for Loafers and Legends fan page. By the way, everybody, Loafers and Legends restaurant, look for that. That is the new profile for Loafers, and that's where I'll be handling all the booking this year. And we are booked up through March already, so you can see who's playing when if you want to pop on there. And I'm very excited, which I'll talk more about this, to start a singer-songwriter night out there on Thursdays, perhaps once a month, but the first one will be January the 11th, and we'll see how that goes. But yeah, do check that out if you happen to be on Facebook. Speaking of Facebook, as always, I don't know, I find myself more and more just not wanting to be on there, apart from my official duties running that and other fan pages. I just don't find a whole lot of enrichment from Facebook, let's say. And I don't want to go on a Facebook rant, but just social media in general has just been the kind of thing where if it's not for a professional reason or for Delilah's social media just to keep up with what we're doing and to catalog her life, I'm not really there for it, at this point. Hopefully things will change with that, but I don't know, I think, and it hasn't been as bad this year as it has been in the past, But, election year's coming up, which means the fake fact checkers are coming back, and I presume, and then all this lying. My biggest issue right now with Facebook is that pretty much every advertisement is from a scammer, and I don't know how they justify that. I mean, obviously the money, but like every single thing on there, it's an obvious scam. Like, people will post pictures of what they were sent, and it's not what that has been advertised, and they'll use photographs in their ad of the nice version, and then try to sell you the Chinese knockoff. And I just don't understand how Facebook can justify that and just keep carrying on, taking their money and trying to, basically enable them to cheat people. And then they have the nerve to call their political opponents fact checkers. It's mind blowing. Wow. I think we're going to see a time when Facebook/Meta is no more, and history is not going to be kind to that company. I will say that. But anyway, that hopefully will not be as bad in the future. But right now, I feel like if it's advertised on Facebook, there's a good chance they're trying to rip you off, and you should really do your due diligence. Typically, you can look at any product for sale there and find it for the same exact price or cheaper on Amazon. So, not a huge Jeff Bezos fan either, but geez, at least on Amazon, there's a rating system that is truly operated by people that buy the product. So at least you have some insight into the quality. But I digress. Neither here nor there. New year, new me, new you. Everything fresh and new. So hopefully, when I come back, the how-tos on the podcast will be worked out, and I'll be able to cover current events that's happening with Delilah and us. And I'm looking forward to getting past season 1 finally. I mean, it did take me the better part of 2 years to get 50 episodes, and originally I had planned to do one of these a week. Maybe I could get back to that. I just got to come to a format. It won't be a 20-minute format, clearly, because it just takes too much time. But hopefully we can make it happen, guys. Well, God bless. I hope everyone has a fantastic 2024. See you on season 2 of Brentocast. Brento out.